Easy sleep English. Relax and learn. Hey friends, let me ask you something. And what if an 8-year-old boy became Emperor of China? Not a game, not pretend. Real power, real danger, enemies everywhere. Powerful men who wanted to control him or kill him. But this boy didn't give up. He waited. He learned. He grew stronger. And then he struck back. He ruled for 61 years, the longest reign in Chinese history. He defeated rebels. He conquered enemies. He united the empire. His name was Kangxi. And tonight, we'll follow his incredible journey, from scared little boy to legendary emperor. Get comfortable. Take a deep breath. Let's travel back 360 years to the Forbidden City. The year is 1661. Beijing is covered in sadness. The Shunji Emperor has just died. He was only 24 years old. He died from smallpox, a terrible disease. China needs a new emperor. But who? There were several princes to choose from. But the Empress Dowager Xiaozhuang made a surprising decision. She chose the third prince, a boy named Swanee. He was only 8 years old. Why him? Because he had already survived smallpox. In those days, smallpox killed many people. If the new emperor died from smallpox too, the country would be in chaos. So they chose the boy who couldn't get sick again. On the 9th day of the first month, little Swanee walked into the great hall. He climbed onto the huge dragon throne. His feet couldn't even touch the ground. Hundreds of officials bowed before him.
Long live the Emperor! Long live!
Long live. The next year, he chose his reign name Kangxi. It means peaceful and prosperous. But peace was far, far away. The real power was not in his small hands. It belonged to 4 powerful men. They were called the 4 regents, and one of them was a monster. The 4 regents were supposed to help the young emperor, Sonnen, Suksa, Ebelin, and Oboi. At first, they worked together, but slowly, one man became too powerful, Oboi. Who was Oboi? He was a great warrior, a hero of many battles. People called him Manchuria's #1 fighter. He was strong, he was brave, he was famous, but he was also proud, greedy, cruel. He didn't respect the young emperor. He thought, this boy is just a child. I am the real ruler. He started to take more and more power. He put his friends in important positions. He changed laws to help his own family. He took land from other people. Anyone who disagreed with him was punished or killed. Sonnen was old and sick. He did nothing. Ibelin was scared. He did nothing. Only Suksaha tried to fight back. And what happened? Oboi accused Suksaha of crimes. Fake crimes. He demanded Suksaha's death. Young Kangxi didn't want to sign the order, but Oboi stood in front of him, shouting, threatening. The boy had no choice. Suksaha was executed. I read about that moment in the history books. Young Kangxi sat on the throne. His hands gripped his sleeves so tight, his knuckles turned white. He watched Oboi control his court. He watched Oboi insult him. He felt so angry, so helpless, but he didn't show it. He was waiting. Years passed. Kangxi grew from a boy into a teenager. Oboi became more and more arrogant. He thought the emperor was weak, stupid, easy to control. But Kangxi was planning something. He pretended to be interested in wrestling, Mongolian-style wrestling, called buku. He chose young men from noble families, strong young men, loyal young men. They practiced wrestling in the palace every day, laughing, playing, having fun. Oboi saw them sometimes. He thought, the emperor is still a child, playing games. He didn't worry at all. That was his biggest mistake. In May 1669, Kangxi was ready. He was 16 years old. He called Oboi to the palace for a meeting. Oboi walked in, proud as always. As soon as he entered the room, the wrestling boys attacked. 10, 20, 30 young men. They grabbed his arms, his legs, his body. Oboi was the strongest warrior in Manchuria, but against so many young men, he couldn't move. They pushed him to the ground. They tied him up. Oboi looked up. He saw the young emperor sitting on the throne. Cold eyes, calm face. This was not a child anymore. This was a true emperor. Oboi finally understood he had been fooled. The games were training. The playing was preparation. The boy he had ignored had defeated him. Kangxi could have killed Oboi. Oboi deserved death. But Kangxi showed wisdom. He listed 30 crimes against Oboi. Then he said, "But I remember his past service to the empire." He spared Oboi's life, sent him to prison instead. This was smart. If he killed Oboi, Oboi's supporters might rebel. By showing mercy, Kangxi won their respect. This was his first great victory. At 16, he had taken back his power. Now, the real work could begin. For a few years, things were peaceful. Kangxi worked hard every day. He woke up before sunrise. He studied until late at night. He learned Chinese classics. He learned mathematics. He learned everything. He was becoming a great ruler. But a huge storm was coming. In the south of China, there were 3 powerful lords: Wu Sangui in Yunnan, Shang Kexi in Guangdong, Zheng Jingzhong in Fujian. They were called the Three Feudatories. These 3 men had helped the Qing dynasty conquer China. As a reward, they got their own kingdoms in the south. They had their own armies, their own money, their own laws. They were like kings. Kangxi saw the danger. These men were too powerful. If they stayed, they might rebel someday. If they died, their sons might rebel. The problem would never end. Kangxi made a bold decision: remove them. His advisors were shocked.
Your Majesty, this is too dangerous.
Wu Sangui has 100,000 soldiers. If we push them, they will fight back. But Kangxi was firm. If we remove them now, they will rebel. If we don't remove them, they will still rebel later. Better to face the problem now. He was right. When Wu Sangui heard the news, he exploded with anger. In November 1673, Wu Sangui killed the Qing governor in Yunnan. He declared himself the leader of a great rebellion. His flag said, "Restore the Ming, destroy the barbarians." Suddenly, half of China was on fire. Zheng Jingzhong in Fujian joined the rebellion. Shang Jixin, son of Shang Kexi, in Guangdong joined too. Other generals followed. The rebel army swept north like a flood. In just a few months, they controlled most of southern China. The Yangtze River was their border. Some people in Beijing panicked.
We should go back to Manchuria.
We should make peace with Wu Sangui. But Kangxi refused. He was only 20 years old, but he stood firm like a mountain. The war lasted 8 terrible years. Kangxi personally directed every battle. He studied maps late into the night. He sent letters to his generals every day. He never gave up. His strategy was smart. He saw that the rebels were not united. Wu Sangui was old and careful. Zheng Jingzhong was young and reckless. They didn't trust each other. Kangxi used this weakness. He offered forgiveness to rebels who surrendered. Many did. He focused his attacks on the weakest points. One by one, the rebels fell. First, Zheng Jingzhong surrendered. Then, Shang Jixin surrendered. Only Wu Sangui remained. In 1678, Wu Sangui did something desperate. He declared himself emperor of a new dynasty Zhou. But it was too late. His army was tired. His money was gone. His allies had abandoned him. A few months later, Wu Sangui died. Some say from illness, some say from despair. His grandson tried to continue the fight, but in 1681, the Qing army captured Kunming. The last rebel leaders killed themselves. The Three Feudatories rebellion was over. Kangxi was only 27 years old. He had won. When the victory report reached Beijing, Kangxi didn't celebrate. He just breathed a long, deep sigh. 8 years of worry. 8 years of sleepless nights. Finally, it was over. But his work was not finished. There was still one piece missing from his empire. Across the sea, there was an island, Taiwan. It had been controlled by the Zheng family for decades, first by Zheng Chenggong's Koxingav, who drove out the Dutch, then by his son, then by his grandson, Zheng Keshuang. They refused to surrender to the Qing. For years, they raided the Chinese coast. Kangxi wanted to end this, but attacking an island was difficult. The sea was dangerous. Typhoons could destroy ships. Many officials said, "Leave Taiwan alone. It's not worth the risk." But Kangxi disagreed. "As long as Taiwan is separate, our coast will never be safe." He made a surprising choice for commander, Shi Lang. Shi Lang had once served the Zheng family, but he had switched sides. Many people didn't trust him. But Kangxi said, "I trust him. He knows the sea. He knows the enemy." In June 1683, Shi Lang led 300 ships and 20,000 soldiers toward Taiwan. The key battle was at the Penghu Islands. The fighting was fierce. Cannons roared. Arrows flew like rain. Ships crashed and burned. But Shi Lang won a complete victory. He destroyed over 200 enemy ships. Zheng Keshuang saw that he had no chance. He surrendered. Taiwan was reunited with China. Kangxi established a government there. 1 prefecture, 3 counties. Taiwan officially became part of the Qing Empire. This decision still matters today. Over 300 years later, we still talk about it. The south was now secure. The coast was peaceful. But in the north, a new enemy appeared. His name was Galdan. He was the leader of the Dzungar Mongols in Central Asia. Galdan was ambitious. He wanted to rebuild the Mongol Empire. He conquered tribe after tribe. He even made deals with Russia. Then he turned east, toward China. His cavalry swept across the grasslands. They attacked tribes that were loyal to the Qing. They came closer and closer to Beijing. At one point, they were only 700 li from the capital. Kangxi made a decision that shocked everyone. He would lead the army himself.
Your Majesty, you are the Son of Heaven.
"You cannot risk your life." But Kangxi said, "I am the ruler of all people. Galdan is killing my people. How can I stay in the palace?" Between 1690 and 1697, Kangxi personally led 3 campaigns against Galdan. This was not easy. The Mongolian desert was harsh, burning hot in summer, freezing cold in winter. No water for miles, no food to find. Kangxi marched with his soldiers. He drank the same muddy water. He ate the same hard bread. He slept in the same tents. The soldiers loved him for this. In the Battle of Jiaomodo in 1696, the Qing army destroyed Galdan's main force. Galdan's own people abandoned him. In 1697, alone and defeated, Galdan took poison. He killed himself. The threat from the northwest was ended. During this same period, Kangxi also dealt with Russia. Russian soldiers had built forts on Chinese territory. At a place called Albazin, Kangxi sent his army. Twice, the Russians were defeated. Then came negotiations. In 1689, China and Russia signed the Treaty of Nerchinsk. This was the first modern treaty between China and a European power. It set the border between the two empires. Kangxi had protected China from both Mongols and Russians. His empire was now truly secure. Kangxi was not just a warrior. He was also a great scholar. Every day, he woke up before dawn. He read books for hours. He studied Chinese classics, history, philosophy, but he also studied Western knowledge, mathematics, astronomy, geography. Jesuit missionaries from Europe lived in his court. They taught him geometry. They taught him about telescopes. Kangxi loved learning. There's a funny story about him. One day, he was discussing math with his officials. There was a mountain in the distance. Kangxi used geometry to calculate the mountain's height. His answer was more accurate than the professional surveyors. The officials were amazed. Kangxi also supported great cultural projects. He ordered the creation of the Kangxi Dictionary, still used today. He compiled the complete Tang poems, over 48,000 poems. He organized the complete collection of illustrations and writings, one of the largest encyclopedias ever made. For the common people, he did something remarkable. He declared, "Any people born from now on will not be taxed." This meant population could grow without more taxes. This policy helped China's population boom. He traveled south 6 times to inspect the rivers. Floods were a constant problem. Kangxi personally studied water management. He supported engineers who built dams and canals. He truly cared about his people. But even the greatest emperor could not escape tragedy. Kangxi had many sons, over 20, and many of them were talented. He chose his second son, Yinring, to be crown prince. He loved Yinring deeply. He trained him carefully. But as Yinring grew older, he changed. He became arrogant, cruel, corrupt. He surrounded himself with bad people. He treated his father with disrespect. One time, Kangxi was sick during a military campaign. Yinring came to visit him, but he showed no concern. No sadness, no love. Kangxi's heart broke. In 1708, he removed Yinring as crown prince. But this made things worse. Now, all the other princes started fighting. Who would be the next emperor? Each prince had his supporters. They formed factions. They plotted against each other. This is called the 9 Princes' Struggle for the Hair. Kangxi watched his sons fight. He once said sadly, "I love all my sons equally. But seeing them attack each other, my heart is in pain." He even restored Yinring as crown prince once. But Yinring didn't change. Kangxi had to remove him again. This struggle exhausted the old emperor. His health was failing. He had high blood pressure, heart problems, but he kept working until the end. On December 20, 1722, Emperor Kangxi died. He was 69 years old. He had ruled for 61 years, the longest reign in Chinese history. Before he died, he chose his 4th son, Yinzhen, as his successor. Yinzhen would become the Yongjing Emperor. But that is another story. So, who was Emperor Kangxi? He was a survivor. An 8-year-old boy surrounded by enemies. He was a fighter, a teenager who defeated the most powerful man in China. He was a warrior, a young emperor who crushed the greatest rebellion of his time. He was a unifier, a ruler who brought Taiwan back to China. He was a conqueror, a general who personally led armies across the desert. He was a scholar, a man who loved learning and promoted culture. He was a father, a man whose greatest pain came from his own sons. He was human. Of course, he wasn't perfect. He started the practice of literary inquisitions, punishing people for their writings. He was interested in Western science, but didn't spread it widely. In his later years, corruption grew. But overall, his achievements were extraordinary. He inherited a troubled empire. He left behind a golden age. The Kangxi flourishing age began with him. For over 100 years after his death, China was prosperous and powerful. That was his gift to history. A Chinese historian once wrote, Kangxi was born to rule. From age 8 to age 69, he never stopped working for his empire. He faced every challenge. He solved every problem. He turned a fragile young dynasty into a mighty empire. That is why we still remember him. Emperor Kangxi, the boy who became a legend. Okay, friends, it's time to rest now. You've traveled through an amazing life tonight. A boy who lost his father at 8, a teenager who defeated a powerful enemy, a young man who united an empire, an old man who worried about his sons. One life, so many chapters. Now, let it all go. Close your eyes. Imagine the forbidden city at night. Red walls, golden roofs, quiet courtyards, the moon shining over ancient palaces. Everything is peaceful now. Sweet dreams. See you next time.